Greetings everyone, Brad here with Mild-Mannered EDC. I hope you're all doing really well. So today we're going to take a look at a new offering here from Civivi Knives. That is the Civivi Perf. Yeah, Perf. Or as I like to say, the actual grown-up or alternate universe version of the Gerber Parafr. Yeah, this is what the Parafr, I think, should have been. Anyways, interesting knife. I kind of joke there, but interesting new offering from Civivi. It's a little different than what they're sort of their normal fare, which I'm kind of liking and appreciating. And it's got some fun stuff on it. So let's go ahead and talk about this knife. We're going to do a classic mild-mannered review today, I think, as I mentioned. We'll start off with some specs, then we'll do a couple size comparisons, and then we'll go ahead and get underway. So let's do some specs here, shall we? Well, I guess before we get started quickly, Civivi Perf, Perf, I keep saying Perf. It is the Perf, P-E-R-F. I don't know why my mouth wants to say something else.
Do you even listen to yourself when you talk?
But at any rate, it is about 68 bucks, 68 bucks, 70 bucks, somewhere around there. Will it be worth that? I don't know. It's kind of, we'll talk about it a little bit. All right. So, blade length. We've got a blade length here of 3.125 inches, a blade thickness of 0.12 inches, a handle length when it's closed up here of 3.96 inches, and a handle thickness, it's quite thin, obviously, which is very nice, of 0.37 inches. And that gives you an overall tip to tail when it's all opened up here of 7.08 inches and a light feathery 2.83 ounces. So very nice in the pocket, and we'll talk about that in carry towards the end. How about a couple of size comparisons here for the Perf? How about a backlash? A Civivi backlash. There you go. So you can see it's a bit smaller than the backlash. How about a rat number 1? There you go. So quite a bit smaller than the rat 1. How about a CJRB feldspar? This is a small feldspar. So you can see it's a little bit bigger than the feldspar, but at least the small feldspar, but kind of in that middle range. I actually kind of like the dimensions on this Perf quite a bit. So anyways, all right, let's go ahead and get stuck in. We'll do a classic mild-mannered review. When we do that, we'll talk about blade, then action, scales and hardware, and then ergos and carry. So let's get underway with that blade. All right. Now, I got a blacked out version of this knife. There is an all sort of gray version, but I was kind of tired of that Civivi gray color they're putting on a lot of their blades these days. So I went ahead and went with this sort of tumbled black washed version. I don't know. Yeah, I don't know. What do you think? I'm curious. The other one looked really boring. This one looked a little less boring with all the, I don't know. I kind of like it. All right. So blade. We've got a very nice drop point, attractive blade, comes down to a nice keen edge, quite sharp. In fact, this came sharper than a couple of the other Civivis I've had lately. So I'm liking that. It came just the way I would hope it would. You know, a great choil out of the plunge line, did a nice job. A little bit of jimping here, nicely chamfered here up on the spine, but basically just a very classic and very sterile while we're looking at it, right? Blacked out drop point blade. Now it is in Nitro V, which is pretty cool.
Cool.
And I think, if I can get there, you can see it probably right up there. You know, they always sort of make their marks hard to find and very discreet, which is nice. But yeah, so Nitro V, I think that's pretty neat. You know, Nitro V isn't the, you know, the be all and end all steels, but I think for a more budget line of knives that Civivi offers, I think it's cool. It's nice to see it, something different. I wasn't overly impressed with the 10CR, whatever it was that I got on the Stylum in a previous review. So I was glad to see this go back to a steel that I think I prefer a bit more, Nitro V. So there you go. I mean, like I said, it's a pretty standard kind of drop point blade, but done very nicely. And yeah, cuts well. Will it hold up with, you know, this black wash? I don't know. You know, it might start to look a little crummy after a bit, but you know, whatever. It's not, I don't think, meant to be, you know, a museum piece. So there you go. All right, let's go ahead and talk about the action on this. So we are running, as all Civivis do, on cage ceramic ball bearings. I'm pretty sure you might be able to see them in there. Maybe not. Hard to tell. All right. But very kind of minimal flipper tab, just a little bit of jimping on there. I like that it's a kind of a minimal flipper tab. Boom, rockets right out. Action is very nice. I don't, there's no real lock stick or anything like that. This is a flipper frame lock, so, you know, I was curious if there was going to be any kind of lock stick, but being that this is, well, anyways, but there wasn't. So it's done pretty well. Typical snappy Civivi detent. Yeah, you know, action is everything I would hope it would be from this particular brand. Now it came centered, remains centered. You know, no blade play, no blade rock, any of that kind of nonsense.
Nonsense, poopy pants!
So just a very solid feeling knife. You know, I mean, it's a fun action. It's you know, pretty fidgety, I guess, if that's something that's your thing. But yeah, just overall, good action. And it's wearing in a little bit better and better as I've had it. So, all right. Now let's talk about scales and hardware, because I think that's kind of the most interesting thing. As I sort of joked, you know, the Gerber Parafr, whatever. That knife, you know, very highly skeletonized. There's another one too. What's it called? Parasail, maybe? I think the Parasail. That one's a whole hot mess of a knife. But at any rate, you know, this is cool. It's a little different from Civivi, right? I mean, you know, we're so used to seeing that, right? We're so used to seeing some iteration of the backlash. And honestly, even some of their newer knives, they don't venture all that much into, you know, they've had a few that have been different, but by and large, and a lot of those were like Isham designs or whatever. So this one's just sort of in-house, and it's cool. It's interesting. I mean, obviously with this highly skeletonized it's highly skeletonized stainless steel liners, what I'm trying to say. So it's going to be very, very lightweight. Everything's blacked out. It's very thin, very much a flow-through type construction. Yeah, it's cool. It's neat. It's different. It's neat. Obviously, you got a stainless steel pocket clip here. I don't know. I mean, I think there's a lot to like about it. It's just a little bit different. And like I said, it feels different than kind of what I've come to just sort of wah-wah Civivi a little bit. So anyways, cool. I enjoy the you know, kind of what they've done here. I don't think it's as interesting with the sort of gray finish. It looks a little plain. But that's purely taste. So there you go. All right, let's go ahead and talk about ergos and carry. You know, for a thin knife, it actually has good ergos. And what I mean by that is sometimes these thinner knives, you can end up either having, you know, it doesn't fill the palm enough. And so you end up getting, you know, maybe a little bit of a hot spot off the pocket clip, or even some of these edges can sometimes be a little tight or a little, I don't know, they don't feel fantastic in your hand. This one does. This one feels pretty darn good. I don't, you know, my medium, large size hands, you know, this one, it feels good in hand. I like it. I like the jimping is nice. It's yeah, you can choke up. I mean, this is not meant really for a finger choil, but you can at your own risk, I guess. But yeah, it just feels good. It felt good in hand. It was nice to carry in pocket. This again, another one of those. Bring out my trusty Hank here. Nice deep carry pocket clip. There you go. Nothing really, you know, sticking out there, just a little bit. And again, deep carry, not every knife needs to be deep carry, but I know a lot of people do like that, and you know, it depends on the day. But for a knife that I think is designed to be a little sleeker, you know, it's definitely got a thin profile, it's pretty lightweight, can slip it in a pocket anywhere. I think that deep carry was the right choice, and you know, as always, they do it with the flush screws and all that kind of stuff. So they did a nice job there. They did do a lanyard hole, I mentioned, which you might not notice because it's all kind of, there's holes everywhere on this knife. But they also, if you notice these two holes, it is an ambidextrous pocket clip as well. So you've got left-right carry there. So, you know, there you go. Civivi Perf. Yeah, like I said, I feel like it's a knife that is interesting and yet, you know, kind of simple, kind of doing its own thing. It's a little bit of a standout in the Civivi lineup. And I think more than anything for me, I like how light it is. That's kind of the highlights for me. It's thin, it's light, and I like that Nitro V steel on the blade. So cool knife from Civivi. I'd like to know what you think, if this is a knife you've been looking at, or if you're interested, or if it's, I don't know, what do you think about my joke about it being sort of a grown-up paraframe? You know, whatever. It is what it is, but most importantly, I hope you've enjoyed this review. Stay safe out there. Be mild-mannered to one another, and all the best.